Okay, good morning. How's it going? Anything new? Who has some words? Anyone ready to present also? Who's done with their project?
I thought it was about
Word?
the product.
Oh, the product? Okay. Slogan? You wrap that up too? Okay. What about, from our last class, when we were working on the slogan, was our product, anyone complete that last night? Because we can have that done too. Hey, I caught up with the grades. So your grades are in. Try to go back if you're missing something. Try to, get that in as soon as possible. Anything up leading to this point. Everyone's doing pretty good relatively well. Of course, we'll wind it down next week. We do 14. So it's going pretty quick. And then for our presentation, also for our final projects, who's ready next week? Anyone think they'll be ready? Maybe Thursday? Okay. Yeah, let's try to start winding that down. I know we got these three. They said they'll be ready sometime next week. Try to get those out of there. Okay, we left off talking about intercultural advertising, how to communicate effectively to different parts of the world, right? Nation to nation, culture to culture. How do we sort of establish some sort of connections without kind of missing the mark? I kind of want to talk today about really what the philosophy of advertising truly is, and how human beings kind of make decisions based on this symbolism, more important, just associations with things versus other things. We would think that most human beings are rational, logical creatures, and that could be the case in some areas. But when it comes to consumption, we find that predominantly not to be true. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, right, where factories were able to put out millions and billions of items, products, little small things, we've inevitably created a reason to have something else, right? And it's even become more sort of exacerbated as time goes on. We've become globalized, and the internet has revolutionized quite a bit of things. Most research points to the fact that we sort of make a lot of these decisions to buy things on unconscious or subconscious systems that we're not really using our prefrontal cortex all the time when we decide to purchase something, right? Inevitably, something inside of us is saying that this will make us better, this will make our lives better, this will make others perceive us in a certain way. This will give us an identity that we think we have, that we should have, or we think we deserve, that we inevitably sort of have perfect concepts about what's the best, right? What's the sweet spot for things that we need in our lives and the choices that we make. So advertising is tricky, because in essence, advertising gets inside your brain. It sneaks, and even maybe almost classified as some sort of brainwash. If we're talking about operating on unconscious levels, where a person's not truly aware that they actually don't need most of the things that they have, they absolutely probably, if it wasn't presented in a certain way, would never buy things. So it's really appeal on different levels, right? You can have emotional appeal, right? You can present something and say, well, let me see if I can make you feel nostalgic. Maybe it's something from the past. It could be something as simple as the lights on a car. Rounded lights appear to be more nostalgic than square lights. It tends for us to look at curves and say, well, that tends to be vintage. Anything vintage has arcs and curves. Anything linear tends to be more modern. Right? We could look at even things like a Dodge Charger. You're like, well, is it a sports car? Or is it a muscle car? Right? And then, for most people, it may be described as a muscle car because it doesn't have the curvature that a Ferrari would have. Maybe even to a degree, Lamborghini is probably somewhere of a hybrid in between that is differentiated from Ferrari. It has more linear sort of lines than Ferrari. And you say, well, is it really that intricate? Is it really that big of a deal? Yes. On some unconscious levels, any small detail, whether it's colors, can drive us to think of maybe times in the past or things that we associate with one to the next. The color green is linked to nature, organic, earth. That could resonate something in us if we went camping with our families one time and had a nice backyard going up, or something of the sort. We think of the color red as always vibrant. It's alertness because our blood is red. Right? So like if you ever seen blood as a child, you won't forget that. Citrus, it means alert. It's energetic. Right? It's that which gives us really life to a degree. We think of the color white as clean. Clean will evoke some sort of sense of it's new. And this new tends to be hopefully modern. Much, right? The color black, we think of it as sleek, right? That is, in essence, without color, right? That is more mysterious because black is the unknown, right? There's really no there, in essence, which evokes mysterious. So small details that creep into the mind that ultimately lead us to find a need to purchase, find a need or desire to have something, to say something, right? A symbol, a meaning. Think of everything that you're wearing today is a decision. And although, you can be like, yeah, whatever, a sweater is a sweater, a hat is a hat, shoes are shoes, that's not necessarily the case. When you saw shoes and all of this designs and colors, it resonated with something. More importantly, probably resonated with what others would think about you when you're purchasing it. Right? So I think of even when I go shopping for shoes, like let's say I went to, I wouldn't have a reason to shop for shoes at all. What would make me want to shop for shoes? Hey, I was downtown and I saw someone with some nice, clean, white, whatever, Adidas, Reebok, something, Nike, and I was like, oh man, those look really sleek. They look really good. Now it may depend on what the person's wearing too. I'm like, man, all right, that looks good with that outfit. I think I have something like that. I wonder if I can pull that off too, right? And then I'll start to think of the place, right? I'll start to think of other things. Do I have those shoes already? Do I have that color? I start to think of like, well, okay, are those like classic or are they kind of modern? All these different things that I'll think before I even start to attempt to do research to maybe go buy some sort of shoes. On the way to buying shoes, I'm distracted. There are some other shoes there. Some look really great too, right? Yes, when we think of marketing as a whole, we're like, okay, what's the price and all of that? But most importantly, my ultimate decision will be an emotional decision. I'll pay more if it goes beyond the threshold of my emotions not paying. Right? I'll simply I'll override my own logic. God, you should pay that extra fee. That's my logic. Usually my emotions win. Even my, these are cool. I think I'll pay extra, whatever. So emotion wins out. We have to think about that. So advertising is a big deal. It says something about your culture, your country, about you, your identity. It says something about who you want people to think you are. It says something about your tastes, your preferences, your lifestyle. And we all have that as human beings. We all have this strong identity and connections with a multitude of things. The first thing I want to do is show you a McDonald's ad from different countries and see if we can find a thing, right? Because we say, hey, there are universal things that are unconscious, that transcend all cultures, all languages, all types of people. Those would be stories. So in every country there are stories, there are books, there are old ancient verbal spoken word stories, things that are real, things that are not real, but most importantly, they have things. And, we say global things would be love, right? Romance, hero, someone who overcame the odds, came from the bottom to the top. Power, right? Those who dominate, leadership, right? All these sorts of narratives and things, right? Now we may be focused on, okay, here's the color of this, here's the item, the product, the service, et cetera, but it does have a theme that sort of resonates universally if we hit the right marks, right? Like a McDonald's, like an Apple, like a Nike, like a Coca-Cola, just for example. So let's see what themes are drawn out from McDonald's across different countries.
Find a burger inspired by flavors from near and far that mixes the smoky with the sass of the South. Combines the sweetness of summer with the tangy of the country. The savory, sizzling, unexpected flavors. Well, you can find it at McDonald's. The new Bacon Smokehouse Burger. It's the newest flavor of the signature crafted recipes by McDonald's.
New choices. Enjoy it all as McDonald's brings you a delicious selection of the Macarabia, made with authentic Arabic flavors. Macarabia, true to tradition.
Kør forbi vores McDrive på vej til arbejde, eller hvis du ikke kan nå at handle, kom med McCafé-station, når du har lidt ondt i håret. Hvis du lige har fået kørekort, efter en lang dag i haven, kom forbi, når vi har bollet, eller hvis dommeren var en nar, når ungerne skal forkæles, og når du skal forkæles, eller kom forbi McDrive, når det ene bare skal gå lidt hurtigere. Vi er nemlig åbent fra 7 til 1, og nogle restauranter længere end det.
spicy is less spicy.
McDonald's का नया मैक्सपाइसी पनीर जिसमें बड़े प्यार से अंदर तक घुले स्पाइसेस बस मजा आ जाए
तो चलो खाना खाते हैं मैकडॉनल्ड्स का नया राइस बोल
Alright, themes. What things should you observe or pick up from these ads? Yes.
I feel like they highlighted different like features or benefits of McDonald's depending on the country.
That McDonald's almost provides a solution in some ways to many of these sort of cultural issues or dynamics. Okay. Then what do you?
Most of them had a very comedic feeling to them. And then there was the Taiwan one, which was very serious and trying to play upon your emotions, whereas most of the others were just like, haha, this is a funny situation.
Yeah, a lot of them were taken, even with, we're trying to place humor as a way to overcome like differences between tradition, the new with the old, right, the young, or different types of even lifestyles, et cetera, et cetera. Most important thing I noticed, McDonald's is about relationships, right? And that it resonates that we have relationships with others that are extremely important, whether it's being in with your friends, your family, having a barbecue, enjoying the meal with your parents or your grandparents, or with even with your son, to some degree, that there's always something happening within the dynamics of relationships. And within the dynamics of relationships, McDonald's could be there as a bridge, right? McDonald's can almost be as a buffer between anything dealing with human relationships. Right? Most importantly, because universally, food is sort of a driver or a buffer between human relationships. We all enjoy food together. Let's see, there's one from Nike that I had here. Apple.
Show me my book list.
You have 4 book reminders.
Montre-moi ma liste de livres.
Vous avez 4 rappels dans la liste livre.
Zeig mal Literaturliste.
Du hast 4 Erinnerungen auf der Liste Literatur.
ブックリスト見せてくれる？
ブックリストの2倍誰です。
Tell Dad I found Katie's present.
Dis à papa que j'ai le cadeau de la liste.
Sag Papa, wir haben das Geschenk für Julia.
搭載のメッセージを作成しました。
Here's your message to Dad. Voici votre message, Papa.
Hier ist deine Nachricht an Papa.
サカナクション流して。
サカナクションを再生します。
Fais-moi écouter Daft Punk. Je spiele was von Daft Punk. Play some Daft Punk.
Here's Daft Punk.
ロンドンって今何時だろう What time is it in Australia? If it was in Australia?
Quelle heure il est en Australie?
ミラノの時間は
Milan. À New York. London.
London.
In London, England, it's 9:05.
À Paris?
À Paris, France, il est 9h05.
Hamburg?
In Hamburg, Deutschland ist es 9:05 Uhr.
東京は何時？
日本と東京との時刻は9時5分です。
Right. FaceTime Jen. FaceTime Lucie. FaceTime Katrin. Communication.
That's an old phone. blockish, squarish one. What is Apple trying to convey with this ad? What is conveyance here? What's the appeal? What appeal are they trying to convey?
Like what kind of works for you no matter who you are, no matter what you speak.
Yeah. Hey, the phone is personal. Your phone is tailored to you. Your phone is essentially a secretary. It's an assistant. It's your best friend. You're telling it to do all these intimate things, and most importantly, you don't even have to touch the phone. Barely, right? You don't have to do it.
I was just saying, I feel like they're trying to show how anybody could use an iPhone, and then since it's a phone, kind of showing how global it can connect us all, because it connects people from anywhere. So anybody can use it.
All right, iPhone is about connection, universal connection, and anyone can use it. We saw a child use it, saw older people use it, we saw a professional use it, we saw a multitude of different languages. So anyone can use it. Let's see, I got one more, and then we can continue the lecture.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing, sing with me. Harmony, harmony, harmony. I'd like to buy the world a home and keep it company.
What are your thoughts about that one? Could it be effective today, in today's environment? What do you think? Or you think we're too biased, I guess?
I was gonna say, I don't know when it came out, but it almost looked like they were trying to, like, I forget the name of the movie, but it looked like they were trying to, like, reference that movie where, like, there's a family scene, so I don't know if it's supposed to be, like, a cultural.
Yeah, I forget the name of the movie too. Yeah, there's a scene just like that, right? So a cultural reference to some degree. I would think that this would either be very controversial or very helpful for Coca-Cola. Nonetheless, we say controversy is good, can be good marketing as well too. Yeah, if I was at the head of Coca-Cola's marketing, I would say do one of these today, bring it back. But liberals, conservatives, and diverse sort of spectrum of people together. And what you would get is people just either talking about it, arguing about it, or something to a degree, but it definitely would churn the wheels of things like that. That would be super kind of controversial if they kind of give that today. I don't know, it may backfire or maybe it work. All right, okay, so where did we leave off? There's some attitudes towards advertising, general attitudes towards the role and functions of advertising, right? What does advertising do? Hey, does it promote unnecessary needs, right? Maybe that is the case. They say people don't need all these things. You don't need to go on sheet and TV all the time, but it doesn't matter. We're trying to get you to buy some more stuff, even if it's unnecessary things. Hidden persuasion, right? Subconscious, subliminal. Does it increase primary demand for addictive products such as cigarettes? Right? Advertising has a component of classical conditioning, like a Pavlov's dog experiment, right? where you're trying to elicit something with something else. You're trying to resonate. People salivate at the sound of a bell. Right? People feel like they want to eat if they hear something. Right? They hear something, they resonate. Coca-Cola kind of, once again, Coca-Cola used to have these very just simple, direct, but subliminal messages in movie theaters. And they would quickly show a Coca-Cola and just say, drink Coke. And then it would go away. Right before like the movie was going to start, then you had like another 5 minutes. And it was found out that that simple message created an urgency to go get yourself a Coca-Cola and it boosted your sales. And like, how could that simple thing work? Well, you know, it resonates something. Maybe it resonates in urgency. You're like, well, maybe you do think about how simple the ad is. Because it's so simple, you may give it some attention. Right? If it was more distracting, longer than what it had to be, you probably would disregard it. So it can sort of increase primary demand. It makes us addicted, even for things like cigarettes. We can make cigarettes cool. Cigarettes could have an association in our mind of something cool, a gesture, right? How do you hold it? What do you use to hold it? Was it a vape? Was it a traditional cigarette? Right? You have your own rolling papers, your own tobacco. It has sort of a culture to it that makes people feel involved, tactile, something you could touch, right? The form of it. Is advertising socially useful to inform people and increase competition? That could be attitude. Does it increase or decrease prices? It can, sure, right? It can create different sort of demands, which would impact prices. Attitudes depend on social responses to what is the social function of advertising, right? So we have to think in different countries. How is advertising displayed in society? Is it something that sort of is usually accepted, or something that's not really used that much? What are the prevailing arguments concerning the legitimacy of comparative advertising? Comparative advertising, saying, yeah, we're doing things in a way that's kind of ethical, or we just bashing competitors and lying about things, and we just disregard anything so we can get a message out. How should competition between brands be facilitated? What are the rules of competition? And does comparative advertising result in fooling the customer by using disputable information to praise one's own brand and put down others? You know, they're kind of vague and subjective. At what threshold are we really lying and fooling people? Right? What can we say? Is it the best, the greatest, top 5, top 10? Right? It can do this. The claims on your toothpaste, right? That your toothpaste is 5 times whitening, and then you use it and there's no whitening effect. Right? Well, why'd you lie? Well, we're like, well, it depends. Right? 5 times your teeth should whiten up. It depends. Depends on the type of teeth. It depends on all sorts of things. Your lifestyle, things you eat, dental fixtures, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of things depend. But automatically, we're going with the message of 5 times whitening effect. Okay? It's going to make my teeth whiter. I think that that's a lie. But it works. We get the people to purchase them. Some commonalities in cross-national advertising, some similarities. We can take a basic approach, right? Things that are similar. What's similar around the world is copy strategy, right? Written form, things that we write up. The media plan usually is the same. The testing, the account management. How much money did we make from this particular campaign? That's universal. Large international agencies have worldwide coverage. So international agencies have local subsidiaries. They're all over the world. Local ad agencies ally with regional networks. So usually they connect themselves with smaller networks in those countries. And then there's just global networks. Like Accenture is a very large global advertising firm. Some differences. Well, differences are the targets and how people use products in a local context. Availability, relative important costs of each media and local context. Different price structures, right? Different cost measures. Different regulations for advertising. Some places have no regulations, well, little to none, regulatory for advertising. Ad standardization, difference according to industry. Are we talking about the airlines? Are we talking about food, and drugs? Here, you know, you can listen to the radio, and it's a pharmaceutical product, and the guy has, you know, the individual has to speak very fast, and all the side effects, right? But you have to announce these side effects per the U.S. law. Do it in your best way, try to save money, have the person that speaks really fast, and you do that very simple. Side effects include blah, 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 blah. All the while trying to convince somebody to buy the product, buy the pharmaceutical in the first place. Food, you have to label what the ingredients on food, right? So if there's something that could be potentially harmful, people will find out. The level of professionalism and availability of media available, right? Not everyone has the structure to get all the different media channels out to the people. And then lastly, advertising strategy is also a matter of communication, right? It comprises what is said, and execution concerns more as how it's said. So it's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it. Offensive language can be tone, attitude, demeanor, etc. If you put it into a song, you may get away with saying a certain language. If you convey it in a certain way, people will dismiss it and not really pay attention to certain things about it. And who says the message and which setting, right? We say the person counts. If it's someone who is a celebrity or a sponsor, we give them more credit, more credentials. If it's an expert, scientist, doctors say, you know, 1 out of 50 doctors say that this is the best thing to use, right? We may listen to that as some sort of medical advice, et cetera, et cetera. And then the type of appeals. Remember, we said we can have religious appeals or spiritual appeals, emotional appeals, and logic appeals. Logic appeals are strictly information. Right? This is how you use the product. And this is why it's better than our competitors, because it makes it easier. And then the themes and overall communication style, whether it's direct or indirect. Here we like to use direct in the United States, right? Other countries like to use indirect communication. Explicit or implicit, or rational or emotional. Okay. In there we want to save time for you. All right, Alan, you want to go first? You have your slogan. why did you pick that sword? What were you thinking?
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of people now, like, especially like famous people, like whenever they like wear their clothing, it's like very seen, like what type of brand they have and stuff. So I thought like wearing change shows the people that are like.
Okay. Well, what kind of appeal is this slogan? Like, what are you trying to evoke in your customer? Are you trying to make them aware? Are you trying to shame them, give them?
No, I would think it's more awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like shaming.
Okay. You know, because sometimes I get, when we think of things like that, like sustainability and caring about the environment, you know, a good way is actually to kind of guilt and shame people about like, how come you're not contributing? What does it say about you? Right? Because remember, it's always like this individual thing and how people feel like people are watching us and gauging us, like, oh, you're not helping, you must be a bad person. Yeah, so they can also work. Okay, this is great. I like it. All right, and do you have a blurb too, or? Okay. You got something? Right, a lot of times, even when we think of environmental awareness, sustainability, you think of different tactics, you're like, oh, how many people have purchased, you look at the number, right? And then that number, you're kind of thinking like, wow, that many people, and I'm not one of them who help. Like that can also resonate with, I should probably contribute to that.
So I'm gonna do my first, and then it was like the fully American part. President Trump advised consumers that in order to avoid the 25% tariffs on foreign vehicles and auto parts, they can start buying cars made in the U.S. The problem is that we don't have any American cars, like fully made here. American companies claim that cars price change. We have about 30,000% or like parts that need an average export them, import them, which is about 40% of the market. So the question is, what's going to happen if we do not have any American cars and the president is advising to purchase American, fully American cars?
What do you think is gonna happen? Like, what's your sort of opinion on this?
I mean, I think President Trump wants to force companies to bring their, like the manufacturers here. The problem is, like, one of the benefits that, like, companies have by having other companies outside of the U.S. is like policies and especially, minimum wage, like, in foreign countries, like, they pay less than minimum wage, which makes it cheaper for us to buy it here. Then if we bring all the companies here, then not only will it like raise the cost of our cars, but also like the tariffs are not gonna work at all. Like his plan, I don't think it's gonna work.
We're gonna long term. Yeah, I mean, think about it. First of all, no country has all the resources to build any car, right? There's too many parts and you don't have all of those natural resources, or even supply chains, for that matter, too. And each country has its own workforce, economy, labor, sort of dynamics. Here in the United States, we have unions, we have high regulation on minimum wages, we pay out a lot of benefits, health, dental, 401ks, retirement, et cetera. They're like, well, the cars are going to be expensive if they're made here on U.S. soil, as opposed to, you know, maybe just importing them, right? And so they're like, well, how do we afford these cars if they're just gonna be more expensive? they were previously before. I don't know, maybe the idea is that the cars may be more expensive, but the labor force may potentially increase, thus increasing the amount of money that we make, that we're able to afford the car. But then it also, to me, kind of signs that things will be expensive and only a certain kind of amount of the population probably will increase their wages significantly. But I think really it's probably the middle class, middle to upper middle class will benefit, and the wealthy will benefit significantly, especially if they're stake in these companies. But I don't see anything that deals with those who are like lower middle class or impoverished to the rich. I don't see how this helps those kind of people. Because the people who work at these places will probably be somewhat middle class, right? And you're like, well, what about the other people? There's quite a few people who are not middle class, right? They're below that. So, I don't know, what are your thoughts? What do you think about this? Trump wants to have a fully American car. Guess that.
I mean, I know that back in the day, Henry Ford really wanted to make a fully American car, have it all made here in the U.S., but the rubber trees weren't able to do that. So already there's at least one substance that you just can't get here in the United States, which causes issues.
Yeah, we don't have it all, right? We don't have it. And that was, you think of what's demanded from the customer today, a lot of it's electronics, right? And so you're talking about microprocessing, chips, wiring, all sorts of different things. I don't know.
I feel like he's trying to restructure like the supply chain globally, and I just think he's like doing that for no reason because all the other countries tariff us and then we tariff them, and so we're gonna lose other countries a market, and other countries are gonna lose us a market, and then we're gonna basically try and attempt to make American vehicles for Americans, and then Chinese are gonna make Chinese vehicles for Chinese, and Germans for German, and it's just like that's kind of making everything more expensive for everybody. So
Yeah, and you think, hey, there's, we couldn't pull this off back in the day when there weren't that many players in the game global, but there's so many emerging economies and developed economies now that the U.S. doesn't have to particularly be the only viable option anymore for a lot of,
like you said, I don't think we can.
yeah, anything the market is supposed to be a self-regulating mechanism, which kind of means that, that things tend to happen the way that the market sees fit how it happens. When government intervenes kind of in any way, you usually see a disastrous effect. But I know a lot of people may still kind of support this as, whatever, right? America champion, the overall. Okay, thank you. Did you have any opinions on this too?
Oh, I thought I had.
Or you could go, you could go next.
It's just, I think things are done the way that they've been done for a reason, and it's beneficial for all parts. In this case, I feel like you don't have to fix what's not broken. If you have someone supplying you what you need at a lower cost, or because you don't have it.
Yeah, you're like, hey, this is not a consumer-driven effort. This is a corporate-driven effort, right? Like, this is not gonna make it better for me. I'm not gonna get basically telling me I'm not gonna get a cheaper car. I'm gonna get a more expensive car. I have to spend more money. But I'm like, well, who's really gonna benefit? Well, the companies, right? The companies and all the big shareholders within those companies. So I think it's a win-win for the wealthy and the upper middle class, but I think it's a loss for the average person who's trying to make a good financial decision. we think of times past as being better than the present or even the future, the modern, right? And so, like, nostalgia always makes us think that there was more sophistication back then, and things were more quality. So yeah, I think this definitely resonates with that sort of appeal, right? Remember, everything we choose has some sort of meaning or association, right? So even the font resonates with luxury, sophistication, or well, where does it come from? Well, luxury and sophistication come from the originators of who drafted these fonts, created these things. Things that are original or first source, we think tend to be better than the replicators in the modern sense. So we'll think that old cars are way more better than new cars, right? Even though new cars have more fancy electronics and things like that. So yeah, I think this will work. All right, good. Thank you. Yeah, you choose, I mean, basic words just draw on, like, things that we think are timeless, like the word classic. Like, you can just attach these words to something, and once again, he says the subconscious things, it evokes an appeal of timelessness or betterment. Because to be quite honest, many people are not happy in the present, right? That we're kind of, we look backwards for happiness. Memories. We look at our memories like, oh man, it makes us happy to think about a good time as opposed to the present time.
Well, we're talking about U.S. tariffs that were imposed on Heard and McDonald Islands. So, Trump's administration imposed tariffs on Heard and McDonald Islands, which are Australian territories in the Indian Ocean. The catch is, these islands are uninhabitable. So, there's no one, not a single person living there. They are known for their penguins. Some criticism, obviously, Australia and the whole world question the logic behind taxing uninhabited territories. The response to these questions so far has been by Lieutenant, which is the U.S. Secretary of State. He just emphasized that around 50 nations had inquired about tariffs, which I was a nation I would too. But the administration maintains a policy as a necessary step. Proceeds to not say why this is a necessary step, but okay. This decision contributed to global market instability and not in the way you think. There's a lot of uncertainty and there's concerns over rising trade tensions and unnecessary economic disruptions.
What is your opinion on why they would do this particular move with these uninhabited lands?
The only thing I can really think about is that it might be like a loophole for someone to avoid taxing if they go through these territories. I don't think there's a huge difference.
Yeah. Other than maybe just talk to,
Yeah.
oh, we've done this in X amount of places.
I think that too. I think it's just like at this point, just throwing a target in.
All right, excellent, thank you.
And now this is my product from Tuesday. I chose a French pound, which is a smart grid as a sun. So it's a smart magnet that you stick on your fridge. You can scan groceries as you put them in your fridge. It tracks expiration dates and now includes a restock reminder system that creates a shopping list when you run low on your essentials. So you can either go in and manually press what you're out of. It will also, after time, track how many of certain items you go through in a week. So for example, if you buy a 24-pack of sodas, it automatically takes off and tells you that it's expired, because I know we don't like surprises in that version. So, as I mentioned, it has auto remind, notifies you when items are almost out, based on your average. A smart list generates real-time grocery lists in the app, because it does have an app that's connected to it. You don't have to pay for a subscription. And you can share with others in your home, so they can add maybe something that they want to the shopping list as a request, not immediately have your child put in like the 30 pack of Go-Bricks every single week. And then there's also a good feature that is a quick rebuy button. This is a lot of people rely on days in like Amazon Fresh, Walmart, Instacart to restock their groceries. You can automatically add it to your rebuy, like you have a rebuy button, so it's automatically added to your cart for your next visit or your next order. So kind of have two slogans going on. You cook, we remember is one of them, and then another kind of catchphrase is restock, remind, reset. Our marketing angle. So our target audience is obviously busy adults, working parents, tech lovers, anyone that's trying to make their home a little bit more techy, and sustainability-minded shoppers, because we all know we bought things twice, thinking we don't have them in our fridge already, which leads to increased waste. And there are many ways this can help you achieve less waste. Advertising is done mainly on social media, because honestly right now it's what's effective. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Mainly by like home and kitchen creators, or like meal preppers, anyone that's into fitness and wants to achieve this lifestyle. Family channels too, because they can never have enough help. Like a parent can never have enough help. So we're gonna do things like what's in my fridge challenge. It's a very organic way to integrate it into a video without making it seem like an ad. If you open your fridge and you have this little thing right there, and you're kind of showing people what it does, it's a very organic marketing style. Kids making grocery lists, because who doesn't like TikTok of a child doing something, whatever reason. And then parents and day in the life, and family channels as well.
Alright, I like that a lot. That's awesome. That's a $1 billion idea right there. Yes, we'll always have refrigerators. We will always cook, and we always will let things get spoiled. I'll let you guys go on Tuesday. So just kind of say there's stuff for Tuesday. That's it for today. Once again, take a look at your grades, anything missing, try to get that in submitted. We're kind of winding down. And I'll see you on Tuesday.